Hello, Julie here and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am having a little video, a flip through of a freebie that I've got to give away. This freebie is created in conjunction with the kit that I have available in my Ko-fi shop right now and my Etsy shop, both of them. And the freebie will be in my Ko-fi shop. This kit and the freebie were created for use with Mandy from Junk Journal Fix with Sunflowers and Doors Facebook group, and we're running a collaboration for the month of August, and there are heaps and heaps of talented collaborators, creators involved with this collaboration. So there's a playlist, so I'll pop that in the description box below so you can check that out. It runs for the whole of August, and yeah, so there'll be lots and lots of inspiration for you. I have got a 50 something page kit, 52 or 54 or something pages in that kit, and that will be over on my both my Ko-fi and my Etsy, as I said. I'll put links to everything in the description box, so if you've missed anything, you know, if I've spoken too fast or you couldn't understand what I'm saying, everything will be down there. So I'm just going to do a flip through here, and then I'll do a little project using this freebie. Alright, so we've got, what do we got? We've got 6 pages of, 6 journaling pages that you can use. So this digital kit is called Vintage Florals, and this is the freebie for it. I have printed my pages on 120 GSM paper, and I have printed my embellishments on 220 GSM paper. So they're the pages, and these are the embellishments. So we've got a couple of full-size pockets here. We've got some large tags, and we've got some dots and some slide covers. I think that's what they're called. I can't remember. And then we've got a page of assorted bits and pieces here, some tags, some pockets, some circles, tabs, blah blah. Alright, so that's the little freebie. I'm going to go off now, and I'm going to cut out all of the embellishments, and I'll be back shortly with a little project. Okay, so I have prepared most of the embellishments, right? But I have had a request that I show the basic steps for beginners. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do one of each embellishment here on screen so you can see how I do them. So all of my tags and things like that I back onto coffee dyed cardstock. This is 300 GSM cardstock, so you can see it is very sturdy. I apply my glue, and I generally use, this is Boyle craft glue, or I will use art glitter glue, depending on whichever's closest. I give it a good coverage of glue because I want it to stick and stay stuck, and I try to get as close as I can to the edges. Plenty of glue because I don't want it coming apart, and then I will stick it down onto my cardstock. I generally try to stick it like to the edge, so that means that one less cut that I have to try and get correct. I always burnish with my bone folder. Here you can see I keep all of my little bits and pieces of coffee dyed cardstock. You never know what you're going to be able to use. So just let that dry for a minute. Now I have also got some pockets on here, and I've got one here that I will use, and I'll show you how I fold those up. So all of the pockets, seem to have lost my little, there we go. Now I've got this line on my scoreboard. You don't have to have a scoreboard, you can just fold these as is. But I've got a scoreboard, so I use it. Now, if you have a look at the shape of the pocket, you can see where that corner comes up and meets a corner there. So what I do is I put this corner here and this corner here, and I'm just checking to make sure that this side here is straight as well, and then I score that. Then I turn it and I score along from that corner to that corner. Now, I was always told that you score so that you've got the lump, which I'll explain in a minute. So score there. So if you have a look, you can see that there's a little lumpy bit there, whereas this bit is indented, that bit isn't. And I've always been told that you should have that one that's got the risen bit where you're going to fold your paper into. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that's what I do. Now I'm going from this corner to this point, like that. So that gives me my score, fold, score, fold, and that gives me my little pocket. Once I've got that done, I use my bone folder and I burnish those folds. I like to burnish all of my folds. I like them to be nice and crisp. Now I am going to ink. I ink everything. I am a big inker. I like the look of it. I think it just sort of finishes the item off and helps each one to stand out from the other. Okay, so that's my pocket. That's ready to stick on to something. Now this glue is dry enough so I can trim this down. Now once I'm happy that it's stuck in place and it's dry, you don't want to run wet glue through your trimmer. I line it up as best I can. With this trimmer it's pretty good because you can sort of put this thing down and then push this over to get it right on the edge. Because it is quite thick cardstock, sometimes I need to go through it a couple of times. Now this tag has got a shaped top. The other tags I've done here have got straight tops, so of course I just then turn around and trim that off. This one has got a shaped top, so now I will use my scissors and cut around that. I don't like cutting the curves, but not much you can do about that. If you want the shape, you have to... You can, of course, put this, if you've got like a silhouette or a cameo or a scan and cut, you can put it into your electronic cutting machine and let them cut it out. I have got a scan and cut, but I don't know. Half the time I think it's quicker to do it by hand. Quicker, not necessarily better, but there you go. And if I've got a little bit of overhang, I will generally use my trimmer to trim it up because I am not that great with scissors. Okay, now the corners on this are rounded, so I'll use my corner rounder, my punch, to do that. And these are the smallest one. You can do whatever, whatever size you like. Why not go up to the next one, eh? Because I usually, depends on the size of the tag, which corner rounder I use. And then I will ink it once again. Now, if you are new and you don't know how to ink, there's several different ways. I just do this sort of version, and I always ink both sides. You can see there, there's still a little bit of extra cardstock there. And plus, I think that inking sort of hides a multitude of sins. And on things like this, I always ink both sides. Make sure you get into the corners. Now, I'm using a domed foam blender here. I think it's foam. You can use all sorts of things. There are flat ones there, and you can use brushes. You can get some nice blending brushes as well. So it's up to you what you prefer to use. The brushes, well, you can get all different sizes. Okay, from big ones like this to small ones like that to do your inking with as well. Okay, so I've showed you how to add some cardstock to the back of your tag. I've showed you how to ink. I've showed you, I'm going to do now, I've got these slide frames in the freebie. So now I've cut it out, and I cut out this using my blade and a steel ruler on a cutting mat. I could have showed you that if I had have thought about it. But now I'm going to just mark my acetate. Now this is actually, I don't know how many of you are what age, but this is an overhead transparency, and I have got heaps of them. So I'm using them up. Now I want to have these holes free. I don't want to cover that up with my transparency. So I'm just going to mark with a permanent marker, because any other marker will just rub off. We can go a bit more this way. Move, just mark that like that. Then bring my trimmer back and trim that off. Now before we stick the transparency on here, we need to ink around the frame, because once the transparency is on there we won't be able to do that. So we need to get in there. This is a good place for your little brush. You can also use, some people just use a piece of sponge, a bit of kitchen sponge cut up. You can also use the little eyeliner applicators for getting into these small areas. You can even use a cotton bud if you want to. I try to make sure that I get right into the corners. It's a lot easier to get into the corners if you use a cotton bud or a small brush. Okay, now I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to put the finest line possible. The aim is to try and not get any glue on our acetate. So I'm just putting a very fine line, not too close to the edge of the frame. And then I'm going to put this on there, and I'm going to try and get it in the right spot first up, so that I'm not sliding it around and moving all that glue all over the place. Then I'm going to take a tissue or something, and I'm going to push away from the inside of the acetate. Like so. And move around on your tissue so you don't wipe a dirty tissue over the acetate. Okay, there we go. So now we've got our acetate onto our slide, and we can ink around the outside of the slide. Now I'm not going to stick this together yet because you know, I'm going to put something in there or something on there. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but I'm not going to stick that together until I make up my mind. I used a small hole punch to punch those little holes in there. You can get all different size hole punches. Okay. Alright, so they're the basics of how I have prepared all of my embellishments. So I've got 2 of those, another one somewhere. There we go, I haven't inked that one. So I've got 2 of those. I've got 3 pockets, those 2 pockets and that small one. I've got the 3 large tags that have been backed onto cardstock. I've got a little file folder that I have inked around the inside, because when that folds up you see those bits. So I've inked around that. I've got a tiny tag and the 2 medium-sized tags. I have also printed on the back of one of the sheets of paper. So my plan is to make a journaling page, a journal page. This page is going to go into my journal that I'm making using this collection. So to do that, I'm just going to fold this in halves. Fold it in halves. Doesn't really matter which way you fold it, because once you fold it, you can always fold it the other way. This page that I have printed on the background is a page from the full kit, but you could easily print one of these pages on the back if you haven't got the full kit. If you've just got the freebie, you know, you can easily go ahead and print one of these on the back, no problem at all. Right, okay, so there we have our journal page. So open up, we've got a nice page there. Now I will of course ink around mine. You can of course stitch around your pages as well. I don't think I'm going to stitch for this journal, but I haven't really, I mean this is the first page I'm making for the journal, so I can still change my mind. I will ink both sides. Okay, so let's try and make sure we get the page up the right way. So to start with, I'm going to put these pockets on here. So let's do that. I like to run a bead of glue along the outer edge and the inner edge of these gussets on our pockets. That way I know that the edges will be stuck down onto the journal, and when you put things in the pockets they won't get caught and stop going all the way down. So let's position that on there. I'm going to leave a little bit, I don't know, a little bit of room all the way around. I don't like to take my anything right up to the fold. And I like to sort of try and maintain an even space all the way around each thing. Now I do generally just wipe over it to make sure that any excess glue is eradicated. Now I run my ruler inside here just to make sure that I haven't got glue anywhere on the inside that I don't really want. So that's that pocket. Now we've got another one here. Let's attach that one. Yes, I've inked around it. Now you'll notice that these pockets have got the file tab on the top. The smaller one that I showed you how I score and fold hasn't. That's just a little straight topped pocket. Okay, so let's position that one about the same. Try to make sure I get it as straight as possible. Let's burnish. Depends on what glue you're using, how long it takes to dry. This boils glue that I'm using is fairly quick to dry. If you're using art glitter glue, that is just about instantly dry. Okay, now this tag is a plain tag, so I thought I might add this little pocket on there. So let's do that. And get it fairly centrally. I could have rounded the corners on this if I'd wanted to make them, you know, blend in a little more. Might have been a bit nicer. Burnish, burnish, burnish. Wipe any excess glue away. There we go. Now we can pop. Would that fit in there? No. Is that the smallest one? Yes, it is. So I'll probably pop a little tag in there. Run my ruler in there to make sure that everything's stuck right to the edge. And this one. Yep. Okay, so we can pop a tag in there like that. Now we've got a couple of large tags that can go in there and there, but before I put them anywhere permanently, I want to put eyelets on all of them. So I'm going, even this little one, I'm going to collect up my crocodile and my eyelets, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have already done these others, but I will show you how to do this as well. A little bit of cardboard showing there. There we go, let's fix that. Now, if you've got a crocodile, I'm using the big hole on the big tags. I'm just going to eyeball it. You can measure, but I'm just going to guess. Punch a hole. There we go. Get your eyelet. You can get all sorts of eyelets, different colours, different sizes. So you can see in there's all sorts of colours: silver, gold, white, black, pewter, all sorts. And there's this size, and there's a smaller size, which is this size here, and that's what I'm going to use on that tiny tag. You can also get these rings that go on the back, and I do like the rings because it makes the back of your eyelets a lot neater. See how that's not a complete circle? If you use the rings, which I should have, that is a complete circle and it looks a lot nicer. So yes, bear that in mind. Now, once we've got our eyelet in the hole, this comes in two parts. It's got a pointy piece and a domed piece. The pointy piece goes in the top. So that goes, well, I do it up the other way because it's easier. So I just use my finger to hold that in place, and then I lay that on top so that, you probably can't see it, but that prong is coming up through that eyelet now, and then you just squeeze. Being arthritic, that is a hard job, but it's better than, at least I can do it. So that is the large one. Now the small one, this pops out and turns around because there's two different sized bits and pieces that you have to use. So you just have to turn that twice and then pop it back into place, and that does the little eyelet then. Put your eyelet in the hole, which is a bit fiddly, these tiny ones. There we go. And then the same thing. I put the little prong through that and then squeeze. And there we go. It's not very good actually. It's a little bit sharp there. So let me do that again. That's better. That's it. Alright, so there we go. Now we've got our eyelets in all of our tags, both big and small. I've only done small on that one tiny tag. Now I'm going to use this ribbon to thread through the eyelets. Let's have a look. You can thread anything through here, you know. World your oyster basically with what you can thread through here. I'm going to double it. So I'm folding it in two, then I'm folding it over again. I'm going to take my tweezers, catch that in my tweezers, and then poke that through the hole. Then I can thread these two through the loop. So I'm threading the ends through the loop. If you're doing it single, it's a lot easier. Doing double is a bit more fiddly, but same procedure. Okay, and then I just cut that like that, and these, I'm going to cut these down a little bit so that we've got that. Okay, So there's our tags. They will all, I won't be putting this ribbon through that one, I don't think. Let's try it and see. We'll try it. I'm not going to do double, that's for sure. You might need to just put a piece of crochet cotton or something like that through this one because it's very small. Or I might just put a bulb pin through that. Okay, all right, I'm going to go off and thread my ribbon through all of these. You probably don't need to watch me do that. I've showed you how to do it on one. While I'm here, I'll just close this up. So all I'm going to do for that is just run my glue along the two edges. There and there. Fold that up. Finish it with my bone folder. And there we have our little file folder. Well, it's actually a little pocket, isn't it? Right. Yeah, so I will go ahead and put ribbon through all of these now. So we're making quite good progress. We're getting there. So that one's done. And oh well, I can't put that in yet because I haven't got the ribbon through that. All right, back soon. Okay, so there we go. I've got the ribbon in all of my tags. I'm going to put that tag in that pocket. And I've got these tags left over here. I've got this bulb pin in this tag. And I'm thinking that I might put that on there. So I'm just going to put that bulb pin through that ribbon. Let that just hang on there like that. Okay, so we have a tag with a little dangle, a tag dangle. We have a file folder. We have a tag with a pocket with another tag in it. We have two tags and we have our two slide frames. Now I'm going to back that with that. So let me just mark. It doesn't have to be a full coverage. So let's say I'm going to make it, I don't want to go over the hole, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to come out there, so that's there and there. So I'm going to cut that to that size. Where's that other mark? About there. And back here somewhere. And there. Okay. And I'll do the same, so that's going to go there. And I'll do the same for this one, so let me mark that. So what about there? Oh no. There. And there. So I'm trying to stay inside of those little punched holes that I've put there. Let's go this way first. Where's my mark? There. 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 And Right, so this paper is in the full kit. It's not in the freebie. Okay, so I'm going to attach that on there, making sure that it is completely covering that area there. Now I don't have to worry about inking this because we're not going to see it. We're not going to see the edges. The edges are going to be behind the frame. A bit. So I'm trying to make sure that I've got that area behind that cutout area completely covered with that paper, and it's not quite. That's it. That is it. Okay, now I've got these pressed flowers here, and I'm going to attach that in there like that. So okay, I'm going to trim that off because I don't want that piece poking out. I'll just trim that. Oops, I lost my leaf. I can stick that down. I don't need to stick the whole thing because if I just stick it in one place, the actual acetate will hold it in place. Drop it down a little. A bit more. Yep. I'm just going to stick this piece down. Even though it's broken off, it won't matter. Okay, now I'm going to run some glue around the outside edge here. And stick that down. Actually, I might put some across there too. I've got glue on my fingers, so I need to wipe that off. Okay, so that's one. Now I'm going to do the same for this one. Instead of putting another dried flower on there, you could put a flower sticker or die cut, any of those things. And we've got another dried flower there. I'm going to pop that there. I'm going to cut that one off a little bit. I'll put it going the other way on this one. Like so. Bit of glue behind it in bits and pieces, just to hold it in place while I glue it down. Okay, and run our glue around the outside here. Okay, this one hasn't been inked around. Now you could also put some brads in those 4 holes if you wanted to. Okay, right, so, oops, let's go back to our page now and let's fill our pockets. So we'll put a card, a tag there, and that tag. So I've got 2 tags there, and on this side I'll put this tag with the small tag in it, and this tag in there. Now I think what I might do is add this on here as a pocket. So let's make sure I've got it up the right way. And that's the top. Let's put some glue along the 4 sides. 3 sides, I mean, sorry, not 4. We don't want to seal the top up. I'm going to put it on this side here, opposite our floral design here. Okay, and then I'm going to put a little file folder, which we could put some coffee dyed paper in there for journaling on. Actually, there we go. Pop that in there. There we go. And this one, we could put that on there as a tuck spot. So actually I'm going to put it on as a pocket. Right there, so that's the back of that one, so let's put it on there. And we might take one of these tags and put it in there. It's not quite dry yet, so I'll leave that for a minute. In the freebies there's also some tabs here, so we've got a whale's tail tab and one of these normal tabs as well. You could use those on your tags instead of putting the eyelet on there. There we go. So there we have it. There's our page for our journal using the freebie. So we've got a pocket there with 2 tags covered, backed with coffee dyed paper and a little dangle one here. You could embellish these further if you wanted to, but you know they're pretty busy and very pretty enough as they are. We have a little file folder in here that we can put a little bit of journaling paper in for another journaling spot. When we open up, we've got our inside, which is a beautiful page. We've got a little pocket here with a tag, and on the back we've got another large pocket with a tag with another pocket and a tag in that. So all of that from the one freebie. Alright, so I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope you could pop over and pick up the freebie. Everything will be in the description box that you need, and also a link to the full kit. And I also put a link to the flip through of the full kit so you can see what's in the full kit. So yeah, there we go. So lots of beautiful pages and embellishments. Alright, well thanks for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will be making a whole journal using this collection, so I hope you can join me to watch how that all comes together. And until then, thank you for joining me, and I hope you can join me for my next video. Okay, bye.